And Jieshi, the last series that I watched him, in fact, I watched him dismantle Firefly in like 10 minutes in a best of 3.
Yeah.
Oh, a little bit shaky there from Koffer to get things going. Anyway, I'm gonna introduce these players. Spawning over in the top right here of Hecate, it is Koffer.
That was just a completely wrong map.
My bad. I was just thinking, like, is this Hecate? But it's Alcyone, isn't it?
This is taking the map name.
Even. I don't know.
It's taking the map name to a whole new extreme. I've heard it pronounced in the map naming correctly, and now we just call them the different maps. Oh my goodness. Bottom left side, our red Protoss player here is Jieshi.
Just to confirm, it's Alcyone, right?
Yeah, Alcyone, I think, is the way you say it.
Yeah. Hecate is the more like romanticized textile-y one, right?
Yeah,
like
it's
kind
like
of purpley
colors
bits,
and
yeah. I have no idea why that came out of me. I just got all flustered, and I was like, no.
You were just so excited talking about the players, and you were like, oh my god, such
Dude.
intros, and then...
Yeah, I had a series in my head. It was like, it was Jieshi versus Firefly, and to be fair, one of the maps was Hecate when I was thinking about it, but Jieshi, like, dismantled Firefly, and we see how good Firefly is just in that previous series. He 3-0'd nice. Now, just because you beat somebody doesn't mean you're better than everybody they beat, kind of thing. But it was funny seeing the difference then Jieshi to Cyan, where Jieshi was 2-0 up, just doing the same dismantling, but then just got totally out-fought, and it was like, whoa. And Jieshi just stayed with the same thing, which does make me think that he might be a predictable player. And if he is starting to play against the top dogs of this region, they can start to read you and develop anti-strats as the series goes on. That can be problematic. But fresh series, clean slate, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm looking forward to see what kind of PvT he brings, because he's going to need to bring it against Koffer.
Koffer. No, he is absolutely going to have to. You have to be spot on against Koffer, because he is going to go and kind of sometimes make it a bit weird right now, fairly standard game, but he will be aggressive. He will hit you with the 2 bases. He will pull the SCV. So if you're off on your build or your mid game or early game, whatever, you will get punished when you play against this Terran player. That is pretty much a guarantee. So keep that in mind absolutely. As our Reaper gets turned around by the Adept, it will not be able to hang around here too long. As the Reaper moves back up towards the Watchtower, and move to the other side. Twilight Council still building from Jieshi as the Nexus is about to finish.
Absolutely. And Koffer, on his side of things, didn't really get to scout any tech just yet. Did get the probe kill, obviously. On his side of things, a super clean build out of him. It's just 1 bunker, safety, no harassers come his way, factory nice and early, reactor on the barracks follow-up, and you normally get that Hellion out to sync it up with the Reaper, just so you can get confirmation scouting. But he is inside with the Reaper again here, Wardy, and he's checking out what's going on. I hear it shooting somewhere, and it's back out again.
Yeah, I lost it for a second, but it does indeed grab a probe kill so far, so that's pretty darn good out of this Reaper. As it's just going to keep around, and has it been able to spot the tech? Not quite. It's right in the back of that main base. He's not really in the right position to go and scout the tech right now. As the starboard continues up, the blink and the blink and the sentry on the way through. Pretty standard from Jieshi. 2 gates only. This feels as though he's getting ready to take a 3rd base, but that will be delayed by the Hellion appearing, and that's going to be a dead probe as well, as long as we actually get the Hellion in range, which we do. So minor delay, and obviously a probe kill is always good to have, and you've got the idea now that your opponent wants to expand.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, getting the confirmation that you're not against a blink all-in, or at least an all-in, anything like that. And you see here, he's syncing it up. 2 probes dead. He still kept these 2 harass units alive. This is more than you hope for. And Koffer, look at this, what he's actually syncing up here in his starport. A Banshee on the go. I think this is really, really cool out of him. It looks like he's going to try and just get 2 base push going out with just very, very standard tech units. And it's just like, I'm going to deal damage, you have to get ready for this, and I'm aware of everything you're doing.
Yeah, no, this push, Marine Tank Banshee could hit hard, especially if you just get a couple kills early. He's going to start up the Matrix just as that hallucination was flying forward. I think that was a fake out to try and make him think, oh my god, this is Cloak, or so. And, or even the fact that it could be a Raven, right? So just trying to sell it that it's not. Anything that you're trying to sell it as right now is good, because if your opponent doesn't know there's potentially a Banshee showing up, that's good for you. But like I said, yeah, I guess Cloak Banshee is a possibility. No response in the main base, though. There's no battery there.
Yeah, absolutely not. And I mean, this is going to be a scary force coming in here. And remember, Jieshi for all intents and purposes, doesn't quite know what's coming. If he does think it's a Raven, he knows he has time to get that charge online and stuff. But if it isn't, and it's what's actually happening here, he doesn't have that kind of time. He's done a good job of getting this mineral wall mined out here so he can take a 4th base if it gets to there. But we see that there's SCVs on the go. And that little Reaper, he's been a real pest, man.
Yeah, just misses out on one more kill as the 2 Stalkers will deflect against the Banshee. However, we got Marines and tanks already showing up on this side. Scanning up this ramp. Super Battery putting in work right now, but boy, did it need to. Without that Super Battery, would have lost a lot of units already. And when it fades away, this is going to be scary. These 2 tanks are still looking good. Of course, we can blink in on top of those tanks. Maybe that's the idea, but taking initial shots like that ain't going to help you out.
This cheeky observer here, just avoiding that scan by the skin of its teeth here. And behind it, oh, he's actually pulling SCVs to clean this up. This is pretty dire, but he will get to take out these 2 tanks, but not without a cost. I guess if he does get these SCVs as well, he's going to be sitting quite pretty here as Jieshi.
Gets the extra tank too at the very end, right? So good cleanup, blinks in, pretty clean. Killed a few probes and lost them, but he killed just as many SCVs. And obviously it's important to clean up this position because that gives you so much power. And right now, building a prism, charge finishing, we are a long way off Stimmin +1. I feel like there's a very real chance you could just break through Coffee right now. I mean, the Stalker's going to go across the map. We'll see if they feel brave enough to grab the tank, but I feel like they might just go for it. Let's see. No, that's definitely not the thing to hit. Don't hit the CC. As now we back it up. But we've got an Immortal coming in as well. Maybe this Immortal can hit the CC from a safe distance. Nope, still in range of the tank.
I mean, the range on that bad boy is pretty damn good. Well situated. Does get to see that it's a 3rd base, so Jieshi can start to feel kind of safe here. And he is... It's kind of like a low gas income game from him. Like, he wants to definitely get out a lot of... In fact, oh, a Liberator in the main base. I didn't even spot that he was making this one, Wardy. I was like, why is he pulling the probes? And for good reason. Little bad boy Liberator showed up.
Yeah, he's had that for a little while, actually. Just never got to join up with the main army, so now putting it to use harassment-wise is good because it takes the attention away on the other side, so he doesn't have to worry so much about everything else that's going on. As we get 7, 8 probes before the Stalker's bench to clean it out, so that is a lot of damage dealt. 8 probes already going down. Stalker sitting on that watchtower in the center, and everything else joined up over on the natural.
Yeah, this has been a bit of a scrappy like opening, you know. Like, how many probes have died so far? 16 versus 5. Like, in most games that go on this long, if those kind of numbers have gone down, you're like, hey, what's actually gone down? You know, it's a lot of crazy stuff. Coffee's just been kind of flinging, I want to say random units, but they've been well done. Like, the Banshee early on, the little scrappy attack. Here, though, that Warp Prism is spotted by the Widowmine drop, so a little bit like, oh, I want to attack you, you're going to attack me. But I like how Jieshi is setting himself up. He's also getting ready for a 4th base. Oh, another Widowmine drop. Coffee's playing good.
Yeah, he's all over the place, and he's playing quickly as this Medivac may go down, but these Widowmines, well, they're just going to keep units there for the while the cannon finishes. It may just keep their attention there while this next Widowmine drop gets in position, going to boost into the 3rd. Let's see how quickly Jieshi is watching and if he's going to pay attention at all. He's not. This is bad. He's going to lose a bunch of probes. They stack up even because of the cannon, and the next Widowmine shot hits well as well.
You know, these Widowmine drops have been really damn key. Really damn key. Now it's 59 workers versus 50 probes, which is not what you want as a Protoss player. And remember, this bio army that's online now, in fact, let's take a look at the count. 10 Marauders, 17 Marines, a tank, 3 Medivacs, a few Widowmines, and the Widowmines getting scattered in as well. Good upgrades as well for Coffee, and he's nicely situated here. Look at his main base. Turrets, Marines, ready to deflect. He's very well set up against a fairly injured Jieshi at this point.
Yeah, but Jieshi, he's going to go back down the bottom left side and just, you know, recalibrate a bit. Robo Bay and a facility coming up, so going to try and, you know, look towards some further tech in this game. It's going to be seeing that Prism going over to the far right-hand side.
I mean, if that does end up getting into the main base somehow, amidst all those units being there, that's going to be quite tricky. By the way, Jieshi has the all-seeing eye observer here on that 3rd base. It sees absolutely everything that Coffee is doing. And, oh, just try and get in, but oh my goodness, greeted by 2 Vikings as well. I mean, everywhere we look, I feel like it's gone bad for Jieshi, but he's still in this. And resources lost tab, it's still pretty damn close between them.
And now we can just walk across the map, man. You know, like this army can just go because there's nothing to hold it back. There's nothing that's going to be, you know, keeping it there. Just kind of a little bit wild as that Bioforce comes through. A couple of Zealots get pushed away over the left side. We're just going to be having... Oh, I mean, the Disruptor really has to be a saving grace. If this Disruptor doesn't do well, I don't know what we really do. This is a lot of units from Coffee, who's going to be in range of the next Disruptor, so it will not fire. And the Force Fields will buy a few moments, as will the Super Battery, of course, but Widow Mines, if they get to shoot, if the tank gets in range, all of this is just danger waiting to get bigger. As we do see the Zealot flank coming in, though. Jieshi gives himself an opportunity. We go on forward. The bio standing strong so far. We've run out of units to tank, right? So the problem is these Stalkers are just not going to be strong enough. And that is going to be Coffee in the end, going to be able to get away with a good chunk of bio after dealing some damage.
I don't think Coffee expected that at all, you know. I think he thought that fight was going to go on for longer. You saw those ghosts coming in at the back there. They would have been absolutely gorgeous in that fight. If he got to wait around, or rather if Jieshi gave him the time there for those ghosts to actually join the fight, I think he would have been in trouble. So I think that's Jieshi just using his vision, his knowledge that he has with that observer that sees everything still, by the way, Wardy, just above that gas there on the right side. And yeah, I mean, that sees absolutely everything. It's giving Jieshi a lot of knowledge of when and when not to go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As we see the Protoss Force just going to sit in the center and may want to try and pick a fight then if he feels like he's done enough to get across there. There is, 4 bases up from Jieshi and a 5th base building. This is something that Coffee does not have. He's just now building his 4th, so the economy currently for the Protoss is kind of where it should be, I guess. He's had issues in this game where it's not been as great, but he's got it back on track. Disruptors up. I mean, I guess the problem with this army is it's really flimsy. If the Disruptors don't hit, everything just dies, right? If the Disruptors hit, then great. There's just no consistent splash damage. Ooh, Coffee, though, moving into the middle of the map is a risky move. Kind of working okay for the moment, as a couple Widow Mines will go on Zealots. I mean, the problem is just those Zealots are a little bit too tanky to get through quickly enough to really jump on all of this.
Yeah, I mean, once the EMPs land, you need to have the firepower to follow up, and right now his bio count's kind of low. Like, I like that he delayed the upgrades and got out the units quicker, like the ghosts and such, but the actual army that he's working with here, he's got a lot of money in the bank here, Wardy. Like 1k, almost 1k. It feels like production has somehow slipped a little bit, and I look in the main, okay, he's got the 6th to 8th barracks coming online right now with all the add-ons, so he will start powering soon. So right now, he just needs to buy time to get it online, and that's what he's doing with this drop.
Big EMP as well. Make sure no recall can come down to this base, so there's no quick response. Because this base is a little bit out of the way. So hitting the EMP on it and stopping the recall actually does really, in this case, probably have a big role to play. As we do finish this off, we have an EMP still available on the Ghost. He uses it on a few Stalkers. And of course, now this army's all the way down here. Can we hit anywhere else and capitalize on that? My issue for Coffee is that he lost a lot of army in this. He got a base, sure, but that was base 5. Now it's 4 bases each, but you sacrifice so much army just to even this out.
Yeah, that was a very expensive squad as well. That was quite a few ghosts in the mix. And yeah, I'm with you. And this attack over here, if this was in sync with it, I'd have much preferred it. The fact that this came in way after, I feel that this is just kind of... the ball is in Jieshi's court now. I feel that if he just kind of slugs it across the map, it's going to be a really hard army to stop. That's a huge Protoss squad.
There's so many units here. So many. Moving across the other side. The Disruptor shot is going to go down. Hits a Widow Mine. Going to clean up a couple. I mean, these Widow Mines are going to get a few units as they come across the map. The Widow Mines continue to set up. Ay.
I mean, these Widow Mines have slowed him down so much that Coffee's actually getting himself very well situated now, but still a good supply lead here for Jieshi. It's just, what can he do with it? And he doesn't feel he can do anything. He's in limbo. And right now, if we look at the production tab, it looks a lot better what's coming online for Jieshi. Those ranged liberators will absolutely be key in these fights to come.
Yep, he's going to need to use those ranged libs very effectively as our Protoss Force continues to move out into the center. He's going to be seeing the army chilling there for a couple of moments. The Vikings still coming through overhead. Force still coming along with this. So again, just seeing... I mean, Coffee gets maxed out, I suppose, which for a few moments didn't feel as though that would happen. It felt as though Jieshi was going to go across the map and just never stop moving, but obviously we do get to kind of slow down and settle it down a little bit. That at least is something.
It is something, and I mean, at least for Jieshi, he does stabilize, and moving on to that DT stage of the game can be very, very scary. Gets all the upgrades going as well. He's a little ahead in the upgrade field, the upgrade department, but You know, this is getting to a point in time where Coffee can just start doing these crazy drops, take the fight across the map, and if Jieshi wasn't going to attack then, I don't know when the right time for him will be to attack, you know? Because that was feeling prime and ready for the get-go, but yeah, if he just starts doing Gateway Explosion now, I still don't think he's down and out by any means.
Still a lot to go to be decided in this as our few Zealots move up into the center. The Stalkers make their way out around the bottom right. You have another pylon setting up there. And again, that +2 armor about to finish up from Coffee as well. Io is going to stim, and those Zealots are going to take quite a bit of damage. So a lot of those Zealots going down straight away. That's just a free donation. That's a lot of supply from Jieshi gone, and he just instantly rebuilds 10 DTs. Because he has money. He is rich. So, yeah, 10 DTs, but I mean, that's a very quick way to spend all your money.
Oh, and if Coffee's looking, Wardy, that is a lot of blur that he just walked by, and he sees it. He sees it before it gets going. That's a huge deal, and Jieshi, is this game starting to escape him a little bit here? I mean, Blink is very soon finishing the Shadow Stride here on these DTs, but it's not what you want. I mean, that is so many resources lost in a very short amount of time. The Zealots, then the DTs, but it does get away with most of them at least.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the only benefit here is that Coffee chased those DTs, and Jieshi's actually going to utilize that and push up the left side with this army now. Coffee's force will be able to drop an EMP down to start us off. The Planetary does not fall in trouble. The Disruptor actually lands pretty nicely. There's a couple of Zealots that were left in that mineral line will start to be cleaned up as well. So we'll work our way through those. Another command center about to be placed. 2 Libs work their way down to the bottom right corner as well, so they're just going to go straight down over there.
Okay, once the Liberators actually come out for harass purposes, that's when you know you're in quite a bit of trouble as Protoss, because it's not something you want to be dealing with, especially as these Liberators start hitting really good upgrades. I mean, they're only at +1 right now. I dare say Coffee will start that +2 fairly soon, but look at the complexity of his army. He's even getting nukes ready here, Wardy. I love this.
Yep, nukes on the way. Oh my goodness. Good start of this fight. These Vikings just chasing, gonna get a second Colossus. This DT's slicing the Planetary top left. That will not be repaired in time, but obviously this main army is falling apart, so the main army is definitely going to be in trouble. The Disruptors can be targeted. Running from a Terran is never fun. He has gone through the majority of the choke point, but I mean, Coffee's just going to go around it. The force field is going to keep a few units back. It also trapped an Immortal in, though.
And all those DTs that are on the other side of the map, they've just gone. They fought with a second PF. Wow. I mean, they took down one, great, but taking down the other one, and now that bank that Jieshi once had, absolutely gone. He's got no gas left whatsoever. And Coffee, look at this army, Wardy, and keeps getting caught off guard with the Disruptors, but that's a lot of Disruptors flying in, but they don't get the connections. Great splits out of the Terran, and Coffee, my goodness, those Disruptors just ran in head first, and I don't think Jieshi has much left here to deal with this. Great play out of the Terran.
Complete panic from the Protoss. The first 2 Disruptors were too far forward, and he knew it, so he fired all of them to make up for the first 2 being so far forward. Oh, disaster, right? Because then all your Disruptors are on cooldown, then there's nothing stopping the Terran moving through. As long as we have scans against this DTs, which we do, this is just going to be game right here. Coffee is going to slam his way through this army of the Protoss and take this first game of the best of 5. So, credit to Coffee. As GG is called, Coffee is going to take the first. That was a well-played game. There's definitely some moments where it kind of didn't sync up maybe as we wanted it to. But he was able to withstand when he had to, and really just, kept on looking for more and more opportunities, and eventually was rewarded with that kind of the golden platter of a reward, which was just straight up, hey, look, you can just have my Disruptors, man, like, just take them, which obviously isn't great.
No, absolutely. Like, I really feel that Jieshi kind of missed his moment there where he was ahead, and it made me feel that he didn't quite know what kind of situation he was in. But once those Liberators came online, like, there was 2 Liberators denying both the bottom right 2 bases, which was just super value. Like, as soon as they came out, it really felt like Coffee was taxing his multitasking, because not once, but twice, the army was just sat there, just totally called out. He just lost, like, 2 Colossus sat outside of Coffee's 3rd base for nothing, and it's like, you can't afford to do that against a Terran with that kind of tech available, even if you're killing, like, PF and stuff, and then trying to run through that little choke in the middle. I mean, that was just so bad, wasn't it? Like, his army I think he lost a good, like, 40 supply trying to get through that little choke.
No, he lost a lot. He was just absolutely slamming his face headfirst into the, that position is funny because I guess eventually when Coffee started to move through, I was like, okay, potential, but nah, just it did not matter. Too much had already gone down, and yeah, that's just something you got to be careful of. as we'll get ourselves ready, by the way, for this game too. It's going to be on hard lead, so if the players are set, game 2 will come up. Crazy game, because I really feel like there was that moment where Coffee lost a lot, and Jieshi could have just sent it. Like, if he just pushed with everything and didn't stop, I don't know what Coffee really does, but then he stops. Coffee in that moment gets all of his tech kind of coming online and everything, and from there he just doesn't take a bad fight again. Once those EMPs were out, he just decimated that Protoss army, so it's wild.
No, you're absolutely right. Like that drop on the far right to kill a Nexus, it was good. And you talked about like stopping the recall and stuff, but the army was still lost. Like,
yeah,
Jieshi reacted well, got out over there. Then the army on the left side as well dealt with that. You know, a lot of Protosses out there, you get given one of those armies that the Terran loses, and they will send it. The fact that there was 2 there that Jieshi still didn't send it, yeah, a little too cautious there, a little too cautious. And in StarCraft 2, you can often be too greedy or too safe, and he was way too safe there, was Jieshi. Way too safe, but that actually made it very, very dangerous for him.
Well, let's get into the next one as we are in at the top left to start with. The Protoss player in the red is going to be Jieshi.
And spawning over in the bottom right, as a blue, speedy little turn, it is Coffee. Coffee.
Coffee. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I almost as soon as I said his name, I was like, Coffee. Like, I remembered how to say it properly, you know?
Yeah, you got it right in the end. Good job. I was about to be very disappointed, I'm not going to lie, Ben, but we saved ourselves. We saved ourselves. As we get,
I'm one of those guys that, like, words come out of my mouth, and then I think about what was said, which is often why I say such lovely, smart things very often, Wardy, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We're actually getting a... Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We're getting a very different build out of Coffee, by the way. The double gas opening this game. And the game before, he went for the Reaper into Marine, the low ground expansion very, very quickly. I mean, it all panned out quite nicely for him, but maybe he felt that that push with the tank and Marine situation didn't go quite as well as he hoped. Jieshi is just scouting around his base for proxies here. Something you don't find a lad named Rotterdam doing all too often.
You don't?
Marauded him a few times these days. It's been lovely.
I thought you were saying Roddy doesn't go proxying, but no, he doesn't go scouting for proxies. Now it makes so much more sense.
Roddy will proxy a Nexus, not a normal proxy. He's very either or kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds like Roddy.
But no scout. No scout.
No scout. Of course not.
5 games in a row, still no scout. It's beautiful. Free MMR.
Let me guess, he wasn't impressed.
I don't think so at all. You know, he, after it started happening, he stopped challenging me to his Basilish Friday matches and stuff. In fact, frickin' Kevin, you know, as soon as we're having a conversation, right? You know, we catch up every now and then. I'll be like, oh yeah, my mouse is broken, and I almost see the light in his eyes. He's like, you want to have a show match then this Friday? And I'm like, no, no. And then as soon as I'm like playing again and my mouse is fine, silence. Every frickin' time. He's an absolute vulture.
I cannot wait to just listen to you guys cast Europe for the next few hours because I feel like you guys are ready to have a good time.
I think so too. This build by Coffee, by the way, like, so Reaper Reactor, he is doing kind of a TVT build here in this PvP, or rather TVP. Oh, losing a Reaper though early on. That definitely takes the wind out your sails here, because if you have 3 Reapers, 2 Hellions, dealing with that with just a couple of Adepts and such, it's really damn difficult. You can lose so many probes.
Yeah, no, you gotta be careful about these things. There's a couple of Reapers and Hellions, by the way. We'll move up across the upper left-hand side. Blink is on the way, then, as we got our Twilight Council working. And that CC is about ready to go down the low ground, but we are going to go 3 racks without a starport right now. So that's going to be the current go-to plan. How are we liking it?
I think it's all right. I mean, Jieshi does sacrifice a Adept here, or does he? We'll get the scout, the confirmation on the high ground here of the CC at least. And this wall off is actually really nice. Stops those Hellions from getting in, but the bleeding is still happening on the inside here against this single Reaper. What a dancer.
Yeah, he's been pretty good, hasn't he? He's delivered a little bit there as a couple Hellions will continue through onto these gateways as well as just trying to break through the front as the Reaper will go down in the end, so that will fall And these few Stalkers are going to come out the front. The Tech Lab's coming up on the other side. Tank just popping. I mean, well, 5 probes went down. This was pretty good for Coffee. He gets a lot done. And, well, Jieshi wants to take a third base as well, so it's not like he's even set up to really capitalize on maybe a few units being made extra and then given up. So, yeah, this was rough for him.
It certainly is. I mean, those Reapers did a lot, man. Can you imagine if that was, like, 3, like he actually imagined and lined it up to be? But this follow-up from Coffee here, I mean, that's a lot of firepower very quickly. Getting one, or rather he's getting Stim and Combat Shield online. He's getting tanks out, getting a lot of bio. It's actually going to be pretty damn menacing. I'm wondering if he even gets a starport after this.
Ooh, there he is. Right now. Boom. Yeah, no, it's gonna, I mean, it's gonna be a scary time that we have coming up though, right? Like, we could send it very soon here and probably do very well, so let's see what the plan will become next little while as our Nexus and our charge comes up. Obviously, that's going to be our pros player preparing for just the next stage of this game as well.
Also, Coffee yet to add on an engineering bay. Like, that makes me think that he isn't really thinking about the what happens next. He's more thinking about the go.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you don't have that engineering bay, I mean, it's very cheap, right? You don't normally go for the double in TVP. It's just not worth it. But yeah, I think this is absolutely going to be lined up to be a massive attack. As soon as the first 2 medevacs are out, he's just going to absolutely send it. You might even see like SCVs come out on the field. And so far, Jieshi, he's not aware of it, but how could you be? He's on 3 bases, getting the +1 armor. He's doing a lot of the right stuff against this.
Yes, he definitely is. He's just preparing and preparing. I love it, right? I mean, patient, tons of gateways. If you get a ton of charge lots up, these sort of attacks can sometimes just melt. It's about the right amount of numbers. You know, charge lots, if they're not enough numbers, they fall apart very quickly, but charge lots in the right kind of numbers, and you do a lot almost straight away. So let's see what happens as our couple Stalkers are going across. He's chasing this Hellion down, which is going to try and find a couple final probe kills. Should have one. Oh, didn't target fire. Yeah,
didn't target fire, but this is a big Terran army now. Like, it's actually very scary. Like, let's see, 3 Zealots on the field, 8 Stalkers, 1 Immortal. It's not a lot. And he's still got some time for that +1 armor to finish. And Wardy. The boys are being pulled. I mean, this is as all-in as it gets. And Coffee, he sank everything into this. There is no after. It's all about now for him.
Yep, as we scan up, we are going to be having an Observer going down. SCV's leading the charge forward as our bio will come across as well. A few Zealots from that right-hand side. Going to start to move on in. The tanks will siege. The first couple Stalkers already dropping. There's a lot of Stalkers going down, man. That's absolutely destruction, isn't it? As Coffee works his way through that army easily right now. 1 tank still alive is important as well, just so you have a little bit of a stronghold to hold out with. As now you can take out the Robo. 2 gateways here already going down. This is looking bad. And what do we have? And this is the sort of point where Zealots are just not going to be enough, because you just can't get enough of them at once. That medevac should save the siege tank. You don't. But no, there's no saving this army on the natural. This is just going to... Well, no saving yourself from the army on the natural, I should say. This is just looking like way too much, as I've mentioned a couple times.
I'm a bit worried for Coffee that he's not, like, using the chokes, like being on the ramp. If he was on the ramp, there's no way for Jieshi. Okay, he's moving up here now. But if he's on that ramp blocking it, there's no way for these Zealots to do anything. But he's kind of letting him up, actually. I mean, there's a world where Jieshi can survive, but, I mean, there's just so much bio, isn't there? I think Jieshi's down and out this game. Well played by Coffee.
I think right now Coffee goes forward, and if he shuts down all the gateways, there's a pylon power and 5 gateways here. Yeah, if you shut down that, you just do not have the warping potential to kind of get enough units up, right? So then you just, you know, outmass your opponent. And as we do see, a couple of Zealots at the front will do okay. The Stalker's starting to do all right as well. A few more Marines, though, shown from the other side. That might just be the last few units we need. These medevacs, man, are out of energy. They've been healing the entire time, non-stop. So they are going to be desperate for a little bit of a break as we will go for this pylon. Jieshi will GG, and Coffee takes a 2-0 lead.
I tell you what, that was very nice by Coffee. Like, it wasn't entirely standard, right? Like, but you could see how it was lining up. Like, no engineering bay. He didn't think about this game going on longer. You see a lot of players, they'll invest in things that don't even take effect. He absolutely planned this as an all-in. And it was just all about how he lines it up properly. And yeah, I like those kind of games of StarCraft Wardy where it's It's very obvious what they're committing to, and you saw the stars align. Like, it hit right before +1 armor finished, hit right before a few things there finished for Jieshi. And Jieshi went for a fight there, killed all the SCVs on the push, but it just wasn't quite enough. I think if he had like a shield battery a bit closer to the fight, or was a bit more careful about where he fought, maybe he'd have had a chance. But nice prep by Coffee.
Yeah, very nicely done. And of course, that is game number 2, and it's now a 2-0 lead. Coffee, our Terran player, is starting to run away with this series a little bit. We're on the verge of another 3-0. Right now, I kind of feel like we might be like, Coffee, you can see where he actually has the chances to get back into it, right, and to make it his game. But he's not taking those chances, and that kind of makes me feel like maybe we do just have like a 3-0, potentially very nearly on the board right here, as Coffee is going to be, well, in the lobby. Sorry, production's asking for ready. Doesn't matter how many times I tell them in Asia, man, we're ready. They always want to know if we're ready again, so all good. Well, we will have Jieshi and Coffee coming up here. Game 3, Site Delta. We had Site Delta for map 3 last time as well, that map with the ramp.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, Site Delta. This map's pretty fun. It's pretty windy in the middle. You can go here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, it's going to be tough for Jieshi to drag himself back into this one, because Coffee's been kind of doing very different things, by the way. Like, first game, that tank marine push with the Banshee in the main, and then went to the third, and Jieshi did a very good job of stopping it. But Coffee showcased that he's more than willing to go late game with the Protoss as well, which that's just a scary Terran to go up against.
The top left-hand side, our blue Terran player with a 2-0 lead on Site Delta. This is Coffee.
Coffee.
It's really unfair when one person gets the intro Coffee, you know? It's just so much more fun.
Yeah, I feel the echo effect is quite nice, actually. All right, spawning over in the bottom right as our red Protoss, it is Jieshi.
Gateway comes up on the main base. Barracks goes down on the other side of the map. Get things settled down and ready to rumble here for this game number 3. Gateway assimilated in the Probal coming through, and a couple of refineries from Coffee at the moment, as he is going to play a little bit differently, right? I mean, it's double gassing it up. Barracks coming in already. This is going to play not a super fast expand, maybe a little bit more aggro. We'll see what he does.
No, absolutely. And Coffee, like, you got to remember the opening didn't quite go as he wanted it to with that first Reaper being lost. But it still worked out very nicely for him. He caused so much ruckus, and it was really, really solid by him to make it happen. Now, he did go into an all-in afterwards. I don't know whether that was pre-planned or whatever, or given how well things went, but this map, very different. The Natural has that nice ramp so they can both feel a bit more secure about their setups and whatnot, and a very, very normal third pattern to take. I am curious to see what Coffee does bring this game, though.
Yeah. I'm intrigued as well as our probe makes its way across the map. Factory is coming up, the barracks and the reactor continue to come through. Just for the moment, we see that probe. Scouting is obviously important here, getting around as well so he doesn't get caught by the Reaper. We'll see no expansion low ground, we'll get up to the high ground. And yeah, with the second barracks coming through, Coffee is doing a bit of a Coffee thing, being that little bit more aggro than you might expect him to be.
Absolutely. Now, luckily, didn't get the second shot on there with the Adept, otherwise it's a dead Reaper almost guaranteed. Coffee just with a bit of scouting. This time though, Wardy, there's no second CC from him. Look at this, he's actually hiding a second barracks in the main base here. Coffee has come very prepared for this series with a whole bag of tricks, and Jieshi so far, he's been all about that Twilight Council only, so I called him Robo Kid in his PvPs, he's Twilight Council boy in his PvTs.
The Reaper and the couple Marines will sit here with the Adept coming up that ramp. Do you have the Reaper? Just going to go across again. Adept is still like, hey, surely at some point you're going to make some kind of move down here, right? So, guess we'll see. Blink is on the way, of course.
This
more
is...
gateways, though. 3 gates.
Yeah, this is This is quite spicy. I mean, like, I don't know how this is going to go, honestly, Wardy. Like, this, obviously, mega roll-in from Coffee, and it's going to be quite hard to hold, but if there is anything that can hold it, it is Stalkers with Blink and, like, Shield Battery, especially with Overcharge and stuff, but really comes down to finding out what you're up against nice and early, and so far, Jieshi's trying to get that info. You really see he's trying with this Adept here. Might be able to start it off with a little bit of a cheeky kill, and does see a lot of Marines very early on.
Yep, those Marines are going to come and moving down toward the bottom right. Adept's going to continue to run away. That Blink is chrono boosting out here from Jieshi, trying to get that up and running. SCVs are pulling, of course. No surprises there. The medevac will have the tanks inside, so only the Marines on the map at the moment, as they are going to be met by a few Stalkers in the front. Now the SCVs are seen. Now Jieshi is going to know he is going to have one battery on that high ground, but only one battery is not really enough, and it's so far forward, it's so exposed. Gotta be a problem as the Stalkers nearly get the medevac. It costs you a Stalker, but that medevac low. Fortunately, SCVs can repair.
This is actually very scary. No Blink yet. These tanks absolutely decimate these Stalkers without the Blink, and the siege ups are starting to come online. And I mean, this does not get easier before it gets trickier. I mean, Jieshi almost has one shot to really stop this. Shield Battery going to be stopped here. No Shield Battery overcharge available. I mean, this is actually very spicy. Okay, the probes are moving in, though. Big Blink takes down the medevac and the tanks. Oh, my goodness, the amount of damage getting done here. But the tank will go down before that final shot, but not before all these Stalkers bite the dust. But who's actually ahead and behind here? I mean, I think Jieshi's going to hold.
Yeah, I think so, too. Man, I think Coffee just got greedy. He unsieged his tanks both at the same time and just pushed up. And in that moment, you know, Jieshi was just like, blink in. So the tanks were unsieged immediately. Losing a few seconds there really makes a difference as well. He maybe could have got a shot on the probes leading in, which would have actually softened up a lot of the tankiness there too. So, well, unfortunate really from Coffee, but sometimes those are the risks you take when you make those kind of build choices. And we are going to have a series going to game number 4 today. It's not going to be a 3-0, so that's the good news on that one for us, because it was starting to be a very fast series here, Ben.
It definitely is. I think Coffee got a little bit too eager with the double unsiege there. Like, I think if he leapfrogged them a little bit, it would have probably been a lot better, because, you know, we had the Liberator coming as well. And that Liberator, especially when you're dealing with a ramp like that, it's hard to get down. Like, obviously you have that one blink, but I think if he was a little bit more careful, but to be fair to him, he was 2-0 up. And when you start tasting that sweet victory, you can get a little bit eager, a little bit carried away. But honestly, nice little hold by Jieshi there. It's not easy.
Not easy as we get ourselves ready for this game number 4. So we are going to keep it going. This time we are going to go to Hecate, Ben. So
finally. You know, that nice purpley landscape there reminded me of the good old days of Romanticide and what have you. But yeah, finally Hecate.
The good old days. Yeah, Hecate coming up. This one can be fun, interesting to see what Coffee does in it, because this can be a bit unique, but also you do typically get 3 bases quite nicely here. But it's all on the high ground if you go into the linear expansion pattern, so we'll see what the plan will be. Jieshi as well, he's been going Twilight and Blink every game. Is it time for him to maybe mix it up, or is he just really comfortable with this to the point where he's just not going to stop? He's just going to keep doing the same thing, because why the heck wouldn't he?
No, from what I've seen in his other matchup, which is PvP in this region, because it's barely any Zergs over here, he's been very much a man that does his thing, sticks with it, and does pretty damn well with it too. I mean, he's made it to the top 6 here, soon to be maybe the top 4 if things align for the young Protoss over here in the bottom left-hand side. As the red, it is Jieshi.
Taking on our blue Terran in the upper right side of the map, Coffee.
Coffee here with an SCV on the map and aggressively located. And this is definitely not the kind of spot that you scout, but it looks like it's only going to be one proxy barracks here, which definitely not too bad.
Yep. Honestly, seems to be pretty just kind of get a Reaper out and just go. Don't think it's going to be anything too crazy unless we maybe start a proxy everything. It's almost like Coffee's got 2, you know, he's like, yeah, I won the first 2 games playing fairly regular, and now I'm going to send everything as this probe is going to scout it. So the good news is the barracks up against the wall, the SCV should be able to stay there and get re-micro to be over there when building so that it can not be touched. And that means the barracks should get to finish. Well, the probe reaches it right now.
Little... Oh my goodness, I mean, this could be... Oh my goodness.
Just.
Yeah, that is very unlucky / lucky. And we'll bite the dust anyway. So actually, if you're a Protoss player and you do kill the SCV and scout it like this, you feel kind of okay, and at least you know it's not double barracks with like tech labs and stuff, and you know, you scout it, you get to see what you're up against. That's nice play. You don't often see scouting on Rotterdam stream, and if you did, it would have paid off here.
Yeah, he's trying to wind him up before he comes and casts with you, aren't you, Ben?
I know he's going to bring a whole world of, you know, blasphemy. Like he's going to be saying that, oh, it's not true about the show matches and the broken mouse thing, and it absolutely is. And I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh, where are these? Okay, yeah, 2 probes dying despite scouting it. That's big.
Yeah, he mentioned broken mouse, and my mouse was not clicking, so I was trying to get over to the Reaper and it wouldn't go. But apparently, I don't know if you have this. Sometimes...
Be careful, Wardy. Roddy might challenge you to a show match upon hearing this.
It's actually weird, but like sometimes with my mouse, I have to like lift it off the desk and put it back down, then it like works again. I don't know what it is.
You need a new mouse, bro.
Probably, yeah.
That's what you need.
It doesn't happen often. Like once a day, maybe.
Way too many. You know what's been happening with my StarCraft, by the way? Like, after loading up for about half an hour, and this is guaranteed, it tabs itself every time. Yeah, I'm like, what the hell's going on? Oh, first time we've seen Cyclones in this series. Yeah. That is cool.
And they're fun to kind of get aggressive with, especially if the starport gets a medevac. You can drop those Cyclones around. It feels like there's going to be a lot of potential here. Get something done, so... We'll see those couple Cyclones coming through. That medevac continuing in. The Stalker's going to get some shots, but it'll get grenaded out the way, so the Reapers will have a freedom to hit down at least 1 probe. We lose 1 Reaper, and that's probably going to be the end of damage dealt. I can't imagine we get a second with just a single Reaper.
Yeah, and we see that it is going to be Blink again, so absolutely Blink boy, you know? Absolutely Blink boy when it comes to this matchup. And, you know, I think a lot of Protossers kind of... I fell into this trap too, where I go with what I'm comfortable with and what I know is good, but not divvying it up a little bit. But one strength of Protoss is absolutely the fact that you have many openings you can do. Like different variants, like you can do Blink, but different ways of doing Blink. But I feel like Jieshi is getting very predictable in the last few series I've seen of him. And Coffee, he's absolutely wild, isn't he, with the amount of crap he's throwing about.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't play the same game twice a lot of the time as... You see these Cyclones showing up, and I'll say the one thing I feel like Cyclones are not as good against is probably Blink Stalkers. I know they don't have Blink right now, but even just Stalkers, you can see they can just get in reach to kind of put the damage on the Cyclones. The Cyclones damage adds up quickly, so the so the Cyclones have to back away pretty much immediately there. That's pretty much what happens in that one.
No, definitely. And tank on the way. He's already on 2 barracks. Does spot that he's going to try and take a 3rd. The Robo facility, though, very early here, very early.
Yep. And that's going to be that Robo Bay with the tech coming up then. So Blink into Colossus is not something we've really seen, right? We saw him end up on Colossus eventually in that first game on Alcyone, but since then it's been a little bit kind of non-Colossus style. Even then he went kind of Disruptors first, which I'd be shocked to see him do here unless he felt threatened. I think he's got the time here to get Colossus up and established, so getting that ready to go.
And Coffee's just kind of like securing himself, just making sure he doesn't take any damage here. The bunker is salvageable in the end. I like that he's going for these Cyclone drops, though, because the Cyclones, if there's one thing that they're absolutely better at, it's killing workers in a mineral line. Like, if those guys go unpunished, boom, they are so damn good. Jieshi just tests the waters here, just gets a little poke at the front. Doesn't really get too much done, but realizes, all right, let's head back home. Let's be safe. And it does have a nice spotting pylon, at least in his main base, to make sure this doesn't go totally unnoticed here.
Yep, you're going to see this medevac coming in, the double Cyclone, looking for more. What do we have nearby? All the Stalkers from the natural have to move, but this is going to drag everything, and it's going to give Coffee free movement across the map. And he's going to start off by killing, well, 3 probes. Now he's going to get a Stalker, now he's going to get another probe, more probes available. I mean, everything's going to die here, so you may as well just go for whatever you can. And like I say, most importantly, it's buying time where these other units have just moved straight across the map. This Colossus needs to be careful because it's kind of on its own. If it takes siege tank shots, it can be in a lot of trouble. And there's no battery on this base just yet, Ben, so we're moments away from that. First panel will go down, the second panel will still power the battery, but it's quite far back, so yeah, it's going to be tough to really engage these Marines while being safe with the battery. As you can see, the tank are going to get jumped on by those Blink Stalkers. Marine Stim, can we get enough to go through onto the Colossus afterwards? I don't think so with the super battery. Wow. 11 probes dead, though.
I actually think Coffee handled that very well. I think Jieshi was a little bit too far away from the shield battery overcharge there, but the fact that he took out one of the tanks as quickly as he did, that was actually real damn key for him, and Jieshi can't chase this. He absolutely can't, but the way that Coffee's syncing up his attacks, like, this game was a lot better than on Alcyone here. Like, the drop in the main followed with, okay, now I can move out across the map. Very nicely done.
Everything just going to pull back home, obviously. Get some medevacs up here, get some healing going. A lot of these Marines were bruised off that Colossus, so they can get back up to good HP and really just get resettled, as Coffee will just sit and, you know, equal workers for a Terran player is pretty much a good sign. Although this is not exactly the fastest third base from that Terran. It's just about halfway done at the moment, so still kind of waiting on that to come through as well.
Alrighty. Third CC finishing up here. +1 weapons finishing up for both these players. Quite a bit earlier for the Terran. That's a good sign for him. And yeah, he's just very good about the drops. Attacks the left side, attacks the right side. He's back and forth. And there aren't that many units back at home. And there's actually nothing in this main base. As I say that, a big ass warp in there. So don't know whether he spotted it or he just kind of felt that something was vulnerable. But he's going to get damage done again here. I mean, you don't want to be a probe in this series.
Oh my god. So many gates getting depowered too, and I think this next gate's going to get depowered. Oh, we just killed a Forge. He couldn't really decide. Wood Pylon would have been a good choice in the end, but didn't necessarily know how much time he had. Stalker's Blink, they're not going to get the medevacs, and that is going to be a good drop from Coffee, who is just continuing to push himself further into the lead. He definitely looks like the stronger player so far this series, and he's definitely looking to make top 4 here in the Asia region.
This is really good play out of Coffee. Just good, solid Terran. Just attack on the left, attack on the right. Syncing up attacks as well. It's very smart. 23 probes have died this game. It's actually, yeah, very difficult. Nice spotting pylon with the probe over here. We'll get to spot this Wood Mine drop coming, and he is nicely prepared. But just knowing about it, it doesn't mean you've dealt with it just yet. And you see that the way that Coffee's climbing here in tech, he's probably going to start thinking about Ghost Academy as well. Boom, that goes down. Just a nice Terran all round.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of Marines on the bottom side. Going to go stimming after a probe for a moment. Take that down. Now going to get those Marines to go after the pylon as well, as everything joins together. And just, yeah, orbital command on the third base dropping down too. So just getting that into place. So you have ourselves the Ghost Academy still coming up, and Bio still joining up together. Everything's still settling as a couple more depots go down to the sides. And we wait for Coffee to kind of pick the next fight, because the next time he pushes, I feel like he's going to be in a pretty good place, just repositioning this medevac so it can't be shot down just yet, as well as those Colossi and Stalkers just going to chill out on that side.
Yeah, and Jieshi's been good about getting this Observer and just between the 3 bases and just sees absolutely everything. And when he sees those ghosts pop out, I think that's Coffee's time to go, go, go. And Jieshi is going to have to take some really good fights against this army, because this army, it's just beautifully crafted to deal with what Jieshi has right now.
Yeah, it's in a pretty good place for sure, as we do see the Widow Mine is going to drop into the back. First Widow Mine gets burrowed up, is going to fire for a couple of probes. 2 probes go down already. Going to get burrowed up once again here, and just going to see the next mine going to go for... Okay, I thought he might have synced up for 2, but it's just going to be the 1. Either way, still decent, as we have our Bioforce continuing to gather out the front. With all the medevacs, Vikings, mines joined up as well. Jieshi is going to come up the top side through the 12 o'clock position and see where he can go with this.
Trying to get an attack going against the 3 base setup, and he knows he's playing super defensive. Like, he knows the Terran is ready for this. And that is not necessarily a Terran that you want to go at it with, unless you're not confident for the next stage of the game, which... Oh, I'm not feeling this attack from Jieshi right now. It's going to be very hard to make this work.
And with you, man, he's attacking into potentially EMPs. The Widow Mines are preset. We'll see what this first disruptor can do. That's going to be 2 Widow Mines. Obviously, if you hit the Ghost, that's great. A Widow Mine on the back of the army, as the Vikings are going to be able to get rid of the Prism here. EMPs are all over this force. Well, the Vikings will get rid of the Prism potentially and then go on to Colossi, because stopping the Warp-ins is a big deal, and this is just a no-go. This isn't it, as everything dies. And Jieshi essentially just gave up the game right there.
I don't know what he was going for. Like, I really don't. He had his 4th base getting online. It was kind of one of those where I'm okay with you posturing to be dangerous, but not to then take a fight where you see that he's absolutely waiting for you. That was like walking into a room with a tiger in it, and you don't do that. Coffee was more than ready.
You do not walk into rooms with tigers. Of course not.
Of course not. But Jieshi's like, hold on, where's that room? And just freaking goes.
A few more Marines go down. Bio still chasing. Tank is going to unsiege and reposition a little bit as Bio just comes up. A couple of Zealots will start to take some hits. Vikings are going to go onto the Colossus. As we have a Disruptor that will go down as well. That Colossus will indeed go down. All the Zealots have been killed. And it really feels as though this is just going to be a little bit too much as Coffee is going to continue on to that Nexus. A couple of those Zealots still going down. The additional few Zealots warping in. Spire Force is continuing to fight it out. Zealots after Zealots just dropping here. There is no way for Jieshi to recover from this. Even a spectacular Disruptor shot wouldn't do it, as Coffee is going to get rid of the Disruptor, the base, the Zealots are warping in. You name it, it's probably dead. And Coffee's going to win this series, go to the top 4.
Really nice out of him. Like, every time that I've seen Coffee play,